It's a new year and a new season to invest in ourselves. How do you want to grow this year, personally and professionally? What kind of career do you want to have? Are you happy at where you work, or are you looking for a change? What if what you want does not exist? What do you do? All great questions, and questions we should explore more intentionally as we step into this new year with a mission of growth. Welcome to Dear Workplace, where we rethink how we thrive at work. I'm Monica Kang, founder and CEO of Innovators Box and the host of this podcast. And today, I'm eager to learn more about how we create our own jobs and opportunities in our careers to love what we do at work.
Am I ready to let go of this hobby that I built around Instagram? And this year, I decided to pursue this online platform more and take a year off of teaching in the classroom, but with the mentality that I am a teacher, just not in the classroom.
I do think we have benefited as a society creatively with the explosion of work. I don't think we've done enough to enable people from all backgrounds, students from all backgrounds, to take advantage of those opportunities, right? I think we keep pushing the technology forward that unleashes all this capability, and yet we keep restricting sort of the flow into the creative process to, the select few. So I think that's something we have to work on.
Let's start with where you are today. Do you love what you do? Whether your answer is yes or no, we all have a chance to explore the next question. How can I do more of what I love and enjoy at work? While the past 2 years have not been an easy time with the pandemic, it has also been a year of lots of movement in the job market. Yes, while some of us were furloughed or let go of, many others have also transitioned, got promoted, or resigned to start their dream jobs. Today, I want to dive deeper into the stories of people who have created their own jobs and opportunities both in organizations and outside of their own, to see what we can learn as we continue to build our own careers and growth opportunities. The most common example of creating our own jobs may be starting our own initiative. That was the case for Ellie.
I guess what really started was the pandemic. So coincidental, if you want to say that. But I was just living my happy teacher life. Teaching really was taking up most of my time, and I was kind of living to teach.
Meet Ellie Kim, a former K-12 teacher and a founder of Our Happy Mess. Ellie has loved teaching all her life and serving students. And while she has always valued this work, she realized the pandemic has given her a new chance to think about education and serving youth in a new way through creative content.
And then in 2020, I started sharing my little bits of the life with my little one. He was 2 at the time, and everybody was struggling because school closed down. Parents were having to fill in the shoes of the teachers and school. So it really started as sharing ideas for how to entertain your kids, but in a meaningful way, so it's not a waste of time. And then more and more people recognized that I have a background in education, and they started asking questions. Why do you do this? What's the most effective way to engage your child when they are losing their focus? So really getting those questions inspired me to go deeper into sharing my professional insight and incorporate it into whatever content I was creating at the time. I was still teaching back in school last year. So that was really hard because I wanted to still keep connecting with these parents who I built relationships with. But I also had to invest a lot of my time and energy into teaching my students. And as everybody would know, teachers were stretched out really thin last year and this year. So last year was where I was kind of focusing on my career while thinking about, am I ready to let go of this hobby that I built around Instagram?
FYI, we did the interview in winter 2021. So a quick note that Ellie's reference to last year is 2020 and this year is 2021. So changing her hobby into a real drive was a bold decision. It was a question she asked. Should I or should I not? It was going to be a lot of work, but she was eager to explore what would it look like to really make this her own and help more parents who really needed this support. Today, Ellie's Instagram, r.happymess, has over 12.6 thousand followers, where she provides daily education content and tips for parents and educators. Content ranges from sharing ideas on how to build vocabulary to how to communicate with your children about their school experience so that they learn how to express themselves. And while 12K may not sound like a lot, remember, she only just started this less than 2 years ago. As Ellie shared with me later, while she may be taking a year break from teaching to build out her Instagram content, she is eager to serve in this role as a teacher. Most importantly, creating that much new content daily is a true commitment. Remember the last time you were posting something on social media to empower your audience? And no, not just about something funny you thought about the other day.
I guess the biggest difference being when I was teaching in classroom, my students were the little ones, whereas now I am kind of delivering messages to the parents who will be working with the students.
To understand Ellie's commitment and deep drive in this project, we have to start with how she fell in love with teaching. At first, she wasn't in teaching. And second, her initial interest was probably more of a self-interest. The beauty, though, is that no matter how you started your journey, you can fall in love and make it your own path just like how Ellie did.
With the dentistry, I was always hoping to work with younger population. So even when I was pursuing that field, I was working towards pediatric dentistry. I was interning and shadowing the pediatric dentists, and I always knew that I wanted to work with little ones. So that's how I decided on the elementary education. But it was more of those surface, very shallow, if you want to say, reasonings that I entered education. But then as years go by, I had an amazing opportunities to go to these conferences, work with amazing teachers and admins who actually care for you and want you to be a better teacher, and learn that it's not really about the transfer of knowledge that's important, but it's about the relationship that you're building with kids and about how to inspire them to be the learners for all of their life. So it's really about building lifelong learners. It's about teaching them how to connect all the knowledges that they learn, not only at school, but throughout their life, and how to utilize that in a way that's meaningful to them. So I think that was a turning point for me, kind of knowing that this isn't just the job of the teacher, but it is something that we have to work together with parents, because it's such a long, big, important skill that they need throughout their lives.
Ellie's journey is inspiring as an example of how you could pave ways to create new meanings out of your own expertise and passion in your field. Yes, some of us may say, I don't know how to do Instagram, or I can't afford to take a year off like Ellie. But what you could still do is on the side. Start as a hobby. Start something small, but find a way to do something that you love and express. It may be something related to what you already love at your day job or your industry. It may be something different, but the key is how you make it your own.
So it's my goal to kind of expand how I deliver my content, because I think it's really important to be inclusive of all types of learners out there.
This is why, although Ellie's content is mostly in Korean, she is expanding her Instagram content into learning modules and working on writing a book for parents and teachers in Korea who don't have access to the education and resources she has in the States as a teacher here. She has connected the dots and found a way to bridge opportunities because she cared about the audience she served that drove to do it. But what about if you have multiple interests and hobbies? What if you want to find a way to bring your interest and insights into your day job? Great question. And it's something Professor Youngmoo Kim has wrestled with as he explored how he could merge his interest in academia, AI, robotic, and music.
My career has been sort of this series of really fortunate accidents. When I went to college, I had no idea what I wanted to study. I really loved music and I'd had some musical background, so I kind of wanted to continue with that. But I also really love technology. So throughout my higher education experiences, I kind of kept going with both, not because there was any grand plan, but just because I liked doing both and I couldn't decide which one to give up.
Good thing Professor Kim did not give up. Meet Dr. Youngmoo Kim, the director of the Excite Center at Drexel University, an institute for transdisciplinary collaboration, and professor of electrical and computer engineering. His research pursues AI for music, human-machine interfaces, and robotics for expressive interaction, and STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math education. This lab is very special because it's a result of the many steps he continued to take in his career of paving his own path.
I graduated in 2003 and started my academic job in 2005. And there just weren't places where you could do that sort of music and technology, engineering research together outside of academia. So I kind of felt the pull of academia in that respect. And so I started my current job, my professorship at Drexel University, where I was very fortunate to join the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, but where I could start a lab called the Music and Entertainment Technology Lab. So my research focus is all around music and media technologies.
He has also served as the resident technologist for Opera Philadelphia and is an advisor for the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Youngmoo also has extensive experience in vocal music performance, including performance with the Tanglewood Festival Choir and Speakeasy Stage Company in Boston, and currently sings with the Tonics, an a cappella ensemble in Philadelphia. He even made a creative a cappella music video for his wife for their anniversary to express his love and creativity. I mean it. He shared that at the event he was keynote speaking at, where I met him last year. And like Ellie, the pandemic became a wake-up call for him to explore even more cross-collaboration of all these worlds as he had to rethink remote teaching and music and tech development. He launched Creating at a Distance, a bi-weekly newsletter highlighting creative and collaborative work in the era of social distancing to encourage his students and peers to rethink collaboration and to take new approaches in teaching. But okay, I gotta ask, how much do art and technology really connect? I feel at a glance they are very different. How did you find a way to do both and not give up, as you said, and pave your own path?
Yeah. First off, I always tell, anybody who will listen, that music and technology have always been symbiotic. From the Stone Age musicians or whatever, right? The ability to turn objects into instruments, being able to combine that with your own sounds, your own voice. And of course, you can go through the classical era of creating new kinds of instruments, and new technology was so important to that. The piano that we have today, the roots of that are, from Mozart's time, but the materials were so different, right? And brass instruments didn't come of age until the 19th century because of metalworking and whatnot. So music and technology have always been symbiotic. I think what's most captivating to me about the last, let's say 2-3 decades, is how technology has enabled even more people to make music or to participate. Well, obviously to experience. I mean, we all can, listen to the entire history of recorded music, at our fingertips, which is also mind-blowing. But to me, the most interesting thing is that, the things that, when I was in high school, I dabbled at recording, had a little 4-track tape recorder, made some music there. Whereas I would have, at the time, given my right arm for 8 tracks, or God forbid, 16 tracks. You can now have, unlimited tracks on your phone. You can record a professional sounding album in a quiet bedroom with an iPhone and a decent mic. To me, that's mind blowing. And I do think we have benefited as a society creatively with the explosion of work. I don't think we've done enough to enable people from all backgrounds, students from all backgrounds, to take advantage of those opportunities, right? I think we keep pushing the technology forward that unleashes all this capability, and yet we keep restricting sort of the flow into the creative process to, the select few. So I think that's something we have to work on.
Wow, who would have thought? Youngmoo shares more about how even with his career today, having a background both in tech and music will get you better jobs at organizations like Spotify and Apple. And imagine where we'll be even in the future. His story reminded me that if we want to create our own jobs, we need to continue to stay hungry to discover what we love and what we want to do more of. And even if the things you love feel contradictory, who knows how those worlds will come together? Even for me, I wouldn't have thought of what I could do today at Innovators Box would be possible, or that I had the skill to lead this team. This podcast and my company Innovators Box would not exist if I had only stayed focused on one skill or one industry. My main lead was in diplomacy, but I stayed open to multiple interests, including creative content, business, training, and more. This is why Youngmoo sees his work at the Excite Center at Drexel University to be important. Knowing how his experience at the MIT lab empowered him to celebrate all his interests, he realized how important it is to have such a multiple disciplinary homes in all universities, both for students and for professionals. Because without it, many of us continue to go on paths that are quite narrow. One job, one career, and one domain. We forget to explore what else is out there.
I kind of alluded to this before. I was very lucky to do my PhD at the Media Lab. And then when I graduated or took the job at Drexel, the thing I started looking at, so where's the Media Lab? Where are these people? And it didn't really exist, right? I mean, not to say that they're great people at Drexel and they're very creative people, but there wasn't an entity like that, which is what prompted me then to, after several years of building up my research lab, to create this institute, the Excite Center. So I am hopeful that this doesn't become such an unusual thing in academia. I think a lot of places have become a little too hyper-specialized, a little too solid. Yeah, you pick a major very early on. You have to super specialize if you're doing biotech, if you're doing, robotics or AI, And I just think there's just enormous, not just power and potential or capability, but creativity from broadening, from getting exposure to lots of different things and lots of different fields. So I am hopeful that at least pushing forward initiatives like that may be something that I'm associated with. I'm a tremendous advocate, not for STEM education, but for STEAM, where it's STEM with the arts integrated alongside of that. Not just that, hey, you need to take some arts courses, but where the approach, the understanding that innovation is not limited to the STEM fields, right? That, of course, artists innovate. Of course, social scientists innovate. Of course, every field innovates. But, particularly, I do think that there's tremendous overlap in the kinds of approach and creativity that artists pursue and that technologists pursue. And I think if you can kind of combine those things, and again, my shorthand for that is STEAM. Others have different ways of describing it, but it really is about trying to find both the differences in those perspectives and the similarities. They can both exist. It doesn't have to be either or. And it's being able to embrace the totality of it.
Yes! Don't narrow your options too early. Keep exploring and asking, what do you love? Why do you love it? And how would you want to do more of it? Whether that leads to expanding your hobby into something new or merging your interests to build your career and niche, you can't get these unless you give space to flourish your interests and passions. So thank you so much, Ellie and Youngmoo, for taking a moment to share your stories today with us at Dear Workplace. I know your stories will inspire others as they had to me. Please take a moment to check out their work that I put in the show notes and reach out and say hello. This is your host, Monica Kang, founder and CEO of Innovators Box, and you've been listening to Dear Workplace by Innovators Box. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Next week is our final episode of Season 2. Yes, already time flew by. We're doing a special collection episode, so stay tuned to join us to learn about it. Please take a moment to share this episode with a friend who may enjoy it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. Thank you to my team for their work and care each week on making this show possible. Have a great week, and I can't wait to see you next week again.
Hi, I'm Sam, an audio engineer at Innovators Box, and I hope you're enjoying Dear Workplace. Since we've been home so much of the year, my cat now follows me everywhere, so we started calling her my studio assistant. I can't say she's the fastest learner, but she's extremely devoted to the cause. This show is brought together by our awesome podcast team, me on audio engineering and editing, Kelly Gravo on marketing, Akriti Pandey on website, Monica Escobar on branding, Leah Orsini on social media graphics, Sarah and Floor on project assistance, and Luke Helder on music. And of course, Dear Workplace is hosted and directed by Monica Kang, founder and CEO of Innovators Box. To continue the conversation of reimagining the workplace, visit us at innovatorsbox.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share. Would love to hear what you enjoy and what I can convince Monica to talk about in our next episodes. See you next week.